What's up, guys? So, in this series, I decided to basically do a raw, uncut video of me speaking to you as a friend, similarly to how I do it with my own friends in public, about various topics, obviously regarding property investing, because I feel there are a lot of ideas and thoughts that I don't really cover in some of my other videos, and there are definitely a few that really start bothering me, and I want to tell this to you guys, to the world, and hopefully I can help someone out with this, because there are a lot of mis ideas, communication between agents and property agencies and so on, and also there is a lot of misunderstanding in the market on the fact of how you can use, for example, banks and leverage, how you can use that to your own advantage, and also obviously there are a lot of videos already on YouTube on basically is it better to buy or rent, and tackling this kind of topics as well, because I feel like the mass market, the masses are not really aware of how you can actually play around with your money and perhaps make a better decision. So basically I'll do it raw and uncut. I'll just discuss to you the same as I do with all my friends and see how it goes. I'll try to approach the camera as a friend and basically explain my own thoughts exactly the same way as when I'm in public with them. And first topic that I want to tackle is something that has been really bothering me for quite some time, and that's mainly because I used to live in that country and I have a lot of friends there, and there are many who are asking me, what do you think? Is that a good thing to even think about buying a property in the UK? So I'm obviously talking about the UK, you saw the video title. And since I lived there for 10 years before moving back to my home country, Moldova, then Dubai and Bali, I still have a pretty good understanding of how the market works, since I also almost did a very big mistake by myself, because I wanted to buy my very first property in London. Thanks God I didn't do this, because probably by today I wouldn't be talking to you through this video. But I still have a lot of people who actually truly genuinely believe that it's better to buy something there, and they actually believe that it's a good investment, which I am deeply against, and I will explain you in a few real life scenarios, cases, why I think that's not the right thing. Basically, let's start with the fact that there are two types of investment. So either you buy for yourself to be living in there, or you just buy it to rent it out and make some profits out of it. Basically add another source of income to your current income. And initially, when people reach out to me and tell me that, yeah, maybe you're right, maybe it's not right to buy it for an investment, but what about those who live there? I think it's still worth it, they say. So my answer to that is that's 100% not worth it. First of all, because you are expected by the society to own your house and live there, but that's not necessarily true in especially developed countries such as the UK, where the market is oversaturated, and it's very hard to get in those deals. And I mean, if you want to buy for yourself, you'll probably look at a more expensive place that might not make sense with the yield that you would be actually renting out in that area. So The idea here is actually pretty simple. Instead of buying for yourself and basically having a payback of 50, 60 years, which is true in the UK right now, because I mean, you don't need to be a mathematician to calculate that, a 600,000 property, which is currently rented out at 1,200, 1,500 pounds, will recover in like 40 years. And that's if you make all those rental income without any taxes, without any maintenance. So if you add that on top of that, if you rent that property, it's probably recover in like 50 years, 60 years. So it's just madness to even think about it. So that's why, I mean, people, when they are thinking to buy for themselves, they think that, yeah, at least I'm not going to pay rent somewhere else, and I'm just going to basically pay for my own living. But what if instead of doing that, you would actually leverage that money and buy something in other territories, maybe even other countries or regions, where your return on investment is 10, 20 times higher than in UK, and live off your rental income in those countries by renting in UK. So obviously you'll have to perhaps move places. Maybe you'll have a more strict landlord that won't allow you to do something in your rental place in UK where you will live, but you would have the flexibility to move around, to switch properties, to end the leases, and not necessarily need to sell that property. So imagine if you have your you bought your property in UK and some of your neighbors started construction. You wouldn't be really able to move out quickly, because you'll either have to move all your things to another rental property and basically try to find a tenant, which is going to be super hard because your neighbor is building, so there's going to be construction noise, and you will be kind of locked in that situation where, yeah, you're feeling like shit because you can't really move out, you can't really sell it, because most probably the investors will look for a deal that will provide them regular cash flow, and that won't provide them because in this specific situation your neighbor is doing some construction work, so no one's gonna really rent, or just rent very, very low. So you're stuck with that. Now if you would have purchased somewhere else, even in UK, you would be able to either terminate your lease or perhaps talk to the landlord to do a sublease and move somewhere else by the time that your rent here is finished, and you would be able to be more flexible and not necessarily sell the apartment or the house to to recover all your losses. And most probably if you would actually own that place and sell it urgently, then it would be considered a distress sale. You would probably lose money, and you would never even start thinking again about property investing. So that's a really short line in between that. But overall, what I'm trying to say is that instead of purchasing something for you to live in the UK, where the return on investment is 40, 50, 60 years, which is crazy, and yeah, basically have no flexibility to move around, why not think of purchasing maybe even 2 to 3 units in more developing countries where you would actually have way higher yields. So let's take, for example, Bali or Dubai. In Dubai, if you purchase something smart, then you most probably will have at least 10 to 15% return on investment. So basically that's already like 20, 30 times more than in the UK, where the return on investment is around, I don't even know, it's probably under 5 or 4% per year if you're lucky, and that's before taxes. So that's crazy. I mean, also the down payments for those properties in UK are super massive. So instead of paying a down payment of, let's say, 150,000 pounds for a 600, 700,000 pound apartment, why not use that money, divide it, also diversify your portfolio, and buy a one bedroom, let's say in Dubai, where you can easily get it with a international mortgage that's gonna make it a 50% down payment for you. You can rent it out right away and make profits right away. And also with the remaining part of that down payment sum, you can buy something also, let's say in Bali, Thailand, a one bedroom villa, which you can rent it on Airbnb. There are multiple property management companies that do Airbnb rentals. You will not only have a better yield property in a different region, having a more diversified portfolio, but you would also be able to actually travel there for vacation for free and stay in your own property. So I truly don't understand those people that are still believing that it's worth buying in the West. And I'm picking UK because I live there and I know how the market works there, but I'm pretty sure that's the same happening in France and Austria, obviously in Switzerland and all those West European countries, where the yields are simply so low and your property won't even grow up in value as much. So if you're buying something at the right phase or even in the right region, area, let's say in Dubai, obviously it's a very tricky market, so you have to know where and even in which building you will buy. But if you buy it right there, you will have not only a higher rental yield, you will also have an increase in your property value every year, and that increase is definitely going to be way over your increases in the West world. So in Dubai, if you buy it right, you'll probably have 20 to 30% price rise in your property value, and that's only speaking about 2-3 years. So that's about 10 to 15% year on year. That's way better than anything. I don't know, you might give some ideas in the comments below, but I don't actually know any other countries that in the West that would provide you such good opportunity to capitalize on property gains. So that's why I'm thinking that if you try to think out of the box, try to analyze a couple of other markets, not only try to get better rental yields, but also diversify your portfolio in case shit hits the fence. Like currently it's happening in the UK, and you want to run out of there and be safe in a way better place like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and even some other countries in that region. I've recently been to Oman and Muscat, where everything looked, although Middle Eastern, insanely safe. Everything is, in order, and I would be feeling very good for myself and my future family living in such a place, rather than knowing that at any time, at any point in time, someone can, I don't know, organize a riot near my house, maybe throw something in it, then I'll have to repair that. And now I'm talking about these current riots in the UK, so I'm pretty sure that, could happen anytime in many of other Western countries, which unfortunately is a sad thing, but as a intelligent investor, you have to plan for this in advance. So that's why my monologue here was more targeted to those people who are now currently not even thinking about buying in the UK, but even struggling to plan for that. So why put yourself in such a situation where you're actually not even able to raise that, down payment, when you can literally be a bit more open-minded, look at some other markets, not necessarily the ones that I named. There are a couple of other places as well. Some other countries which are really interesting is Georgia, for example, or Azerbaijan. You can buy a property there, like a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, for up to $100,000, and the yield there, it's going to be probably around 12 to 15% minimum if you buy it again in the right location and so on. But that's very possible, and that's definitely impossible in the Western world. So I've also personally been to Georgia. I've seen some of the objects there, so some of the buildings and properties there. They also look very modern. You get a residence permit, you can travel at any time there, you can reside there. I mean, the capital appreciation is also another big thing, because nowadays, due to the other geopolitical events such as the Russia-Ukraine war, there are a lot of immigrants into Georgia, which basically drove the prices crazy. Although I still believe the prices are good there. So if you're thinking of other alternatives, there are closer alternatives to your home, like this country that I just named. Azerbaijan is another thing. Yeah, it's another Muslim country, but they have it all in order. Baku is an insanely great city. I mean, it's way more safe than any city you can imagine in the Western world. It has a beautiful promenade. It has all great restaurants. Architecture is stunning. Is actually being built. Was built on the idea of Paris. That's why they call it more of a Eastern Paris, due to the oil boom that they had a couple, I think, 100+ years ago. So yeah, it's a lovely place. You can have capital gains, you can rent it out, you can put it on Airbnb. They also have property management companies, and they don't charge as much. Like, for example, in Dubai, property management for Airbnb, they would charge you around 15 to 18%, but they would make you 30% more than renting it long term. So I personally prefer to rent it long term, just because I can leverage the checks. So I can get, for example, 2-3 checks, and that would pay me 3-4 months in advance, basically. And I can use those money to buy some other properties, or just rent, furnish the other rentals that I have. And I'm also on site, so I can manage this pretty fairly. But you, as a foreign investor, maybe you want to think about Airbnb property management and use that as a residence when you travel to Dubai. So you would be able to have, I think it's around 2 to 3 weeks per year, where you can stay in that property and use it for yourself. So I ran out of air by now, but I hope I covered most of the things that I wanted to say. Basically, going back to wrap up and finalize this idea, if you're in the UK and you are asking me or anyone else whether it's better to buy or rent, and if you still see some benefits of buying there, I'm actually super curious to hear them out. I haven't really heard any arguments that would really be plausible to this, and will make me rethink my ideas as well. But nevertheless, if you're more open-minded, you are willing to learn, and you don't necessarily need to move out of the UK, then you might consider this alternative investment of leveraging that insane amount of deposit money that you have to pay for your mortgage in the UK to buy something else somewhere else. And from the rental income that you would make there, you would just cover your costs of rental in the UK. And honestly, from my very own experience, most probably you will be able to make more from your smaller investments. Let's say if you combine Thailand and Dubai, or Bali, Dubai, and you would make more out of that, and you would be actually able to afford a larger apartment in the UK. You know, let's say you would make around 2,000 to 3,000 pounds from your other alternative investments, while in the UK, if you will buy something with the same capital, as in the down payment for that mortgage, you would most probably make around 1,000 pounds max. So you see, the alternative is kind of obvious. You'll have to pay higher mortgage amounts in the UK, while overseas they would be not only covered by the tenant, but you'll make profits on top of that. So in Dubai, for example, I personally rent out my apartments, and I make at least double the mortgage price in profits. and I can use those to rent for my own. So actually, I also don't own my own apartment in Dubai. I try to rent because it just makes more sense, and I can leverage that money to rent something bigger, try new areas, and that's about it. I hope you found this video useful. It's my first one where I'm trying to be more open and try to do some more uncut video, but I actually liked it, to be honest. So if you did as well, if you enjoyed it, please don't forget to drop a like button and comment all your ideas and thoughts below. Let me know if you want to know more about maybe other markets. I'm gonna do this quite often, I think. I'll try to, at least. Hopefully that will be helpful to you guys, because I really want to redirect all my friends to watch, those videos instead of explaining all the things all over again. So yeah, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.